This is Pinky. He's a male cat, domestic short hair. He's available for adoption. He's pet of the week, Placer County Animal Shelter. He's a very loving cat.
Oh, here. Pinky.
Pinky.
Pinky. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, we got a wildcat on our hands. Pinky, settle down, bud. Careful, Cole. Careful. Well, I get a catch pole. Somebody got a catch pole.
Pinky.
Just set it over.
No.
Get a catch pole.
You gonna catch all four to get them?
Yeah, because I'm not going to grab him. Oh, dude.
Watch it, he's caught up in the... Just disconnected from the deck.
What a filthy job. Could be worse. How? Could be raining.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. Eric Dudas and Brian Musker here with you, once again broadcasting from the heart of Fastenerdom. I in the Cleveland area, Brian in the Chicago area, also in the last bastion perhaps of thriving Western civilization. Brian Musker, how are you?
I'd like to think there's quite a few bastions of Western civilization, actually.
I hear that. Well, I had all kinds of ideas for today's show, theme-wise, and in the end, with everything going on in the world, I just said, oh, bag it, and so we're going to do the best we can today. What do you think?
Well, we've done that always, okay?
And we thank you, everybody, for joining us once again, and this is episode 99 of the podcast. We're broadcasting this time on November 18th, 2015. We're going to get things kicked off with a discussion between Bob Baer of Abbott-Interfast and the MWFA. He's a keen observer of the FDI. He'll be talking with BB&T Capital Markets senior analyst Charles Redding, and they're going to tell you how the FDI sausage is made. It's a pretty good discussion, and I think everybody involved with the FDI will enjoy that. FDI, by the way, folks, is the Fastener Distributor Index.
And I should also note that Bob Baer's involvement was actually contributing a very, very thoughtful graph comparing the moving average of the PMI to the FDI, which we posted a link to on the FDI history page.
That's right. So get out there to FDIsurvey.com and you can see Bob's graph out there. It looks really cool, and he does a great job with that. We'll start the second segment off with a visit from everybody's favorite industry blogger, the Traveling Salesman. He's going to get his reaction to the big news. By now, most people have heard it. Yes, the Vegas show has been sold. A different management group will be taking over. We'll get his impressions. Finally, on today's feature segment, it's another landmark interview with Dan Zehnder. This time, he'll be talking with Surinder Sakhuja of Stelfast. Don't miss it. And, as always, we'll have Mr. Mike McNulty with the Fastener News Report. He'll cover the latest FDI plus the industry headlines. And we've also got another Fastener Training Minute with Carmen Vertullo. It's a pretty good one, Bri.
Oh, yeah. Jam-packed full, you'd say.
Jam-packed, just like our list of fine sponsors, isn't it?
And I'm very familiar with them, having been adjusting some of the timings of the banner ads on our sites. And we're very lucky because we have a great group of sponsors. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio, Stelfast, Trinity Hardware Headquarters, and the Lindstrom family of companies. Stelfast, for service you deserve and people you trust. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right. The Lindstrom family of companies, including Titan Fasteners. Lindstrom, by any measure. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded Radio are Buckeye Fasteners, Fastener, InSequel Software, ND Industries, The Worth Group, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. So thanks to all of you, okay? We couldn't put Fully Threaded Radio together without all of you.
That is 100% true. Thanks to all of them, and thanks to each and every one of you out there listening. We really appreciate it. Please give our sponsors a nod. Next time you reach out to them, let them know you heard about them on Fully Threaded, or at least you heard them on Fully Threaded. And
Right.
get with us anytime if you'd like to at the email address ftr@fullythreaded.com or under Twitter under the handle Fully Threaded. Well, for those of you who like a nice, tight, short show, as we
You've been disappointed for 98 episodes.
well, the early days they were a little shorter, but this one will probably fit the bill. And it's pretty compact, but full of really good information, which you will hear when we come back with you right after this.
These guys aren't screwing around much. Brian and Eric, Fully Threaded Radio, Internet Talk Radio for the fastener industry.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stelfast today through our website at www.stelfast.com and put us to work for you. Stelfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Ahoy there! No one likes to miss the boat. Well, except maybe the Titanic or Bismarck. But generally speaking, we don't like missing the boat. And we know you don't want to miss the boat either. Which is why we're inviting you to hop on board the TrinityHardwareHQ.com for the ultimate fastener experience. With all engines full steam ahead, Trinity Hardware headquarters will get you to your fastener destination in no time. This online mega carrier is rigged with over 30,000 varieties of fasteners, don't you know, including package clamps and carriage bolts, and a full assortment of plow bolts. And now, TrinityHardwareHQ.com has really gone overboard by dropping our minimum order to only $25. Aye, matey, you heard me right, just a mere 25 clams. And don't forget about our swag crew that provides a laundry list of services to complete your online fastener experience, including packaging, kitting, and poly bagging. Check out our hold and release options in pallet or quarter keg shipments. We even offer secondary services such as patching, machining, drilling, and much, much more. So don't miss the boat. Make TrinityHardwareHQ.com your one-stop shopping destination. That's TrinityHardwareHQ.com. All aboard, mates, for parts done right.
You probably know that Lindstrom is an industry leader in metric fasteners. And there's a good chance you know we recently expanded to provide a wide range of high-grade inch fasteners. But what you probably don't know is that Lindstrom has made a serious commitment to earn your socket business. How serious? Well, let's start with 11,000 products. Announcing Lindstrom's expanded line of socket products, including socket head cap screws, flat head socket cap screws, button head socket cap screws, socket shoulder screws, and more. Plain, plated, or patched, in a full range of inch and metric sizes. Special lengths and thread pitches available through in-house fabrication. Always packed to your specification. Lindstrom. Flexibility, choice, and value at every turn. Here for everything distributors need. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded line of socket products, visit LindstromSockets.com. Lindstrom, by any measure. To speak with a sales representative, call 1-800-328-2430.
This is Tracy Lumia of Distributors Link Magazine, the #1 publication in the fastener industry. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, charter members, the Fastenerati, back with you.
This is the Fastener version of the Illuminati, is it?
Well, or the Digerati.
Oh, okay.
Remember back in the mid-'90s, Wired magazine came out with that one?
Right, yeah.
Had all these wireheads walking around thinking they were way cooler than everybody else, which, kind of we were a little bit.
Slightly, yes. A little bit.
In a geek kind of way.
Yeah, this is when you were struggling desperately to get up to 56K board modems, okay?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was leaps and bounds ahead of an acoustic coupling device, but wasn't too fast.
Thank God those days are gone.
Well, we schooled ourselves through basically trial and error and just trying to keep up with what was happening, and those were exciting times. And speaking of going to school, I finally went and did it, Bri. You'll be proud of me. This goes back a couple of weeks. But I went to the Fastener Training Institute, or I should say I attended because it was an online affair.
Wow.
Getting back to the Digerati thing. But I went to the webinar on the subject of, yes, you guessed it, hydrogen embrittlement.
Your favorite, okay. I couldn't imagine anything else that you'd be learning about, okay?
Well, they extended the invitation. How could I pass it up? And I'm really glad I did it.
Okay. So then sometime over a cup of coffee, you'll be able to tell me all about hydrogen embrittlement then.
Well, I'll be able to tell you a lot more than I previously could have, that's for sure. And I was really gratified to know that the lingo, of which there is quite a bit involved in that subject, involves things like intragranular and ductile rupture and really cool terminology like that. Now, did I come away with a lot of practical knowledge that I'll be able to use in my everyday life? No. But if I were like a lot of the students that attended and I was handling material on a day-to-day basis, I'll tell you it was very, very well done. And the FTI webinars, I think, get a thumbs up from me.
Good. Okay.
That's right.
That's why we're associated with them.
True. And folks, if you're wondering why is it that I don't actually put my hands on any of the inventory, since I am, in one way of thinking, part of the fastener industry, it's because Brian and I are both virtual fastener distributors in a sense, and that's because we operate the FCH sourcing network found at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. It's a huge online resource, virtual distribution center, I suppose you could say, Bri.
Yes.
And anytime you're looking for a hard-to-find part, a fill-in, or another vendor for a given commodity, please give it a try. It's the FCH sourcing network. On the other side of that coin, if you're looking to move inventory, we'll make your phone ring, get out to the website, and take a look.
Right, and by the time you're listening to this, we'll have put a set of upgrades through our servers to handle the extra activity we're seeing at the moment. Another 100 gigabytes of main memory to speed things along a bit.
Yeah, can you imagine those early PCs that we were using had, like, the first time we crossed the 640K barrier, we were just doing somersaults.
Yeah, thank God those days are gone too, actually.
So it's amazing. But bringing it back to the fastener world, everybody, it's the FCH Sourcing Network. We'd be thrilled to have you as part of it. And once again, get out to www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. Have a look. Our contact info's out there. If we can help you out in any way, don't hesitate.
Right.
So we're going to be going to this interview, Bri, with Bob Baer and Charles Redding to discuss the FDI. Bob Baer, of course, is a fixture on the MWFA scene, Midwest Fastener Association. And before we play the interview that he did, I wanted to point out to everybody that the 2016 MWFA Fastener Show will be held June 14th and 15th. They've got a golf outing associated with that. Every other year, of course, they do Fastener Tech, and then they'll do the MWFA Tabletop Show, which is, I think, the preeminent tabletop in the nation. And if you haven't attended yet, or if you do every year, make sure you jump early and get out to www.mwfa.net and get your registration form. Might as well take care of business, and you'll be all set for 2016 to head to the MWFA Fastener Show. You going to play golf this year, Bri?
I don't provide that much fun for people, okay? I've learnt choose the battles you can win pretty carefully, okay?
No, I don't believe that for a second, although I do agree with you. And rather than battle this one any longer, why don't we get right to it with Bob and Charles and their discussion on the Fastener Distributor Index.
Right.
Okay, this is Bob Baer with Abbott-Interfast Corporation, and with us today is Charles Redding, Senior Analyst with BB&T Capital Markets, and we're going to talk about the FDI, also known as the Fastener Distributor Index, something that we've all had some exposure to over the last 3-4 years here, and more recently at a number of our industry events. It's come up, it's in the news, and it's been in the red, which again brings it, heightens its awareness currently. So, Charles, want to welcome you to Fully Threaded Radio, and at the same time, thank Eric for allowing us to do this.
Thanks, Bob. Nice to be here.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. Every month we get the chart, and the index comes out just shortly after month end. I know we poll a number of distributors. They report the numbers. We see the graph, which is it's great. It's a picture tells 1,000 words, as they say. But along with it is a chart with a bunch of numbers on it. And I guess I'm sitting here every month looking at this thing. I've actually talked about this in a few presentations. And I started to really look at the detail, and I'm just wondering, hey, what really makes this thing up? Does everybody really understand it? How does it relate to our industry? How does it relate to, for example, the PMI? And, what actually goes into this? And I will forewarn you guys, I have credit for having one of the most boring, fully threaded radio shows ever when we had the Federal Reserve on. So I'm really hoping you guys bail me out this time.
Well, as a former Federal Reserve employee, I certainly can attest to some of the nature of those meetings for sure. I'd be glad to give you kind of the background with the FDI. Certainly, this is a survey that we picked up from the former analyst here, Holden Lewis. And again, a survey that we handled in conjunction with the FCH. And basically, we're trying to get overall sentiment of fastener distributors. We generally think about 50 being a diffusion index, so above 50 would be sort of positive sentiment, if you will, on a sequential basis. So it's very simple, really. It's one question. It's relative to what you would seasonally expect here. How was the activity in North America in the following areas in the month now ending versus those of the preceding month? And again, it's a 25% weighting on sales, employment, supplier deliveries, and customer inventories. More or less better, same, worse for sales, higher, same, lower for employment, faster, same, or slower for supplier deliveries. And in terms of customer inventories, it's too high, it's in line, or it's too low. So I guess directionally, you can think of it in the same light as a PMI. It's certainly geared more towards distribution relative to manufacturing. But again, it's a primary genesis of the index. That's the primary question. We also do consider point-of-sale pricing on fasteners relative to the prior month, although given the nature of the question, if you will, we actually don't weight pricing either on a month-to-month or a year-over-year basis within the aggregate index. And then finally, we ask in terms of expectations for 6 months activity versus the prior level, sort of an outlook question. And again, because that's somewhat of an arbitrary question, call it 6 month out, general conditions in the economy, general conditions in the overall macro environment as they pertain to fastener distributors. We don't weight that outlook in the index per se, but we do like to try to gauge that and get a sense of where expectations are relative to the prior month for participants in the survey.
Okay, so that's quite a mouthful, and a couple things I heard in there I'd like maybe to go into a little detail on, a little explanation. Sure. First thing I heard, diffusion index. Can you give just a very brief description of a diffusion index and what that means?
Sure. So basically, 50 is your average. Above 50 indicates strengthening versus the prior month, again, sequentially. Below 50 would indicate some slowing. And again, we try to keep it pretty simple. Again, it's a sequential indicator. So if I'm taking the survey, I'm just trying to think back to the prior month. I don't have to locate a year-over-year milepost, if you will, in terms of how conditions were a year ago, because there could certainly be some confusion there as you go month to month. But just on a sequential basis, are things better or worse than they were last month in terms of just overall sales, and again the overall metrics that we mentioned, employment, deliveries, and customer inventory.
Thank you for that explanation. I've always understood one of the useful tools for a diffusion index is to kind of ascertain a turning point, a cycle turning point. So I'm looking at our FDI chart, and I see the ups and downs, but there are some definite time frames where the chart swings the other way. Is it a fair statement to say that is one of the uses of a diffusion index?
Absolutely. I think what we've seen, and certainly this is it's not an exact science in terms of getting a specific bead month to month, but if you think about it on a historical basis, directionally, we feel like the index does have a positive correlation directionally, along with the monthly sales prints from Grainger and Fastenal. If you consider the September index, this was a notably weak print, again, with the components of the index coming in weaker than we've ever recorded, dating back to early 2012. We did have an analyst transition here. The good news is the questions are unchanged, and the data is the exact same. We've got consistent data, again, in the exact same form in terms of questioning and ultimately responses here to the same questions dating back to early 2012. So we feel good about the consistency of the data here. And again, think about it as a directionally accurate indicator of overall top-line performance and overall sentiment for fastener distributors.
Okay, great. And you mentioned that inventories is one of the four components, all evenly weighted. I think you said 25%. There's two inventory lines. There's a respondent inventory and a customer inventory. I just want to clarify, it's the customer inventory line we're talking about? That's part of the
customer
index?
Inventory. Yes, sir, that's correct. Customer inventories is a 25% weight here. No weighting to respondent inventories. It's essentially, too high in line or too low in terms of customer inventories.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm just going to put a hypothetical in front of you, Charles. Let's say that sales take off a little bit, and in any given month, there's a draw on distributors for inventory from the customers, and they pull in, they're anticipating growth, they pull in a bunch of inventory, which would raise the sales figure for the month, at the same time raise the customer's inventory for the month. Can you consider that a double whammy or no?
Well, you could certainly do have additional weighting in terms of customer inventory when you have a too high score. That is going to weight that, and I do think that that's a fair point, that you could have increases in both inventory there and sales. But I think over time we feel like that smooths out. And the other piece of this that I didn't mention is that we do seasonally adjust the components. So we do take into account, the fact that there are different days in the month. In addition, in terms of just overall period adjustments, that's all factored into that seasonal adjustment. We did have a modest sequential improvement in October, with a slight majority of participants noting better conditions in October versus September. To us, that's certainly not, as you look at the headline index, it's over 50, but in no way do we feel like conditions have improved significantly. Again, it's just a sequential improvement. We're certainly staying cautious. If you look at the 6-month outlook for the index, it remains a notably low 28%. That is very simply, you're asking participants, again, to provide their expectations for the overall climate 6 months out. In the bottom line, the survey to us would certainly suggest a continuation of added caution here. again, which is, we think, warranted given the overall deterioration of monthly sales print from both Fastenal and Grainger.
Got it. You mentioned the 6-month outlook. I guess as I look at the October numbers here, it's just about a perfectly bell-shaped curve, is it not?
Yeah, I do think that's fair. I mean, the 6-month outlook, it is arbitrary, but it is pretty stunning to see that the level of negativity in the overall pool of participants, just in terms of where they feel like the overall economy is kind of 6 months out from here.
Yeah, this exactly same percent think it's going to be lower as think it's going to be higher. So that certainly is interesting.
And again, there is some nature of arbitrary participation there, which is again why we do not include it in the aggregate index, but it is worth tracking in our view.
Okay. You mentioned the seasonally adjusted number, and you briefly touched on that. And obviously they are different most of the time. There are some months that it's closer to one another than others. But when you say you're adjusting to take things out, I'm assuming swings for holidays and special seasons. I just want to touch on that briefly to make sure everybody does understand the difference between the two.
Yes, absolutely. What we do is take an average of the last several years in terms of how the overall scoring is shaping up, perhaps get some increased scoring in some months versus other, essentially creating a multiple. And again, that does factor the total number of days projected in the operating month versus another. So it's certainly accounted for there.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I always wondered about, and I just want to verify for obviously our listeners and myself, the 6-month outlook, obviously that is opinions that we're generating, but the index itself, the index is not really built on opinions. It's actual respondents reporting with actual data from the previous month compared to the prior month to that. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. We really try to take out any opinion here. I mean, obviously you're asking pretty straightforward questions just in terms of whether sales or employment, again, inventories or deliveries, whether these are how these have shaped up on a sequential basis, and you're really trying to strip out any specific color or opinion that may be inherent there, so that we can get as close to an accurate read kind of month to month as we can.
Okay. Another question I wondered about is employment. I know the employment figures are weighted 25% as part of the index itself. But how do you account in a year, let's say, where business is falling off or companies are trying to become more efficient and they might be growing in sales, but due to automation or technology might actually be slashing their employment base?
I do think that we will continue to get a reasonably accurate directional indicator of employment as you go, in terms of seeing where spending is, where overall capital budgets are for next year in terms of higher, same, lower. I do think, again, overall through time, I think that that's a relevant question and is merited in terms of inclusion in the overall index.
Okay. One question that comes to mind here as I look at the 4 parts of the equation is in a growing economy, sales are going up, inventories are going up, employment's going up. Would you say that the possibility exists that when that chart or when that index starts to climb, that it climbs exponentially, and when it falls the same way when all the numbers are going up at one time and all falling at the same time? I guess that's the reason for putting a trend line in, is to kind of smooth that out. But
sure,
in a short, say, 4 to 6 month period, would you think that it could be climbing faster than it should be and dropping quicker than it should be?
It's possible. Again, I think you just have to look at it directionally again and over time. As you go, certainly if you look back at the scoring, call it 2012, 2013, 2014, certainly the numbers were higher here as we were coming out of a very difficult period for the majority of the fastener distributors. So these are certainly numbers that, if you look on the whole, that dating back to the early portion of our data in early 2012, they're going to certainly be higher during this period. But again, we think over time that as you continue to garner data points here, and as we continue to see kind of how sales, employment, and inventory and the like shakes out over the next couple of years, we do think that this will be, again, directionally accurate.
And Charles, from your perspective from BB&T, what is one of the more useful things for you guys for this data? What's the benefit to you? And then what, for our industry, what do you think when we look at this chart we should really focus on?
Sure. Well, kind of high level here, if you think about distributors right now, at least our industrial distributors under coverage right now, obviously we think continue to operate in a notably difficult environment right now in terms of overall top-line growth and margin expansion. If you just think about the overall headwinds right now from industrial production, whether it's pressure on exports from the stronger dollar or the like, anything with exposure to Canada, particularly West Canada, where you have the higher dependency of E&P CapEx spending. Certainly Canadian foreign exchange remains weak to the dollar. Overall, this is simply telling us that this is almost a perfect storm of macro headwinds of sorts for the majority of fastener distributors or distributors and the like. We think that it will continue to show pressure here over the next near term in terms of overall pressure on both revenue and margins for our distributors under coverage. There's certainly minimal inflation, so there's limited ability among distributors and OEM to push pricing here. I do think distributors are working hard to retain price rebates where possible, but again, it's just a tough time for distribution, and I guess the challenge is for us is not to be overly negative, because certainly these are what we believe are solid companies that continue to operate in just a tough environment.
Yeah, and it does kind of look like we're kind of turning the corner here, so we might, I agree with you, we may have a couple more rough months ahead, but it does look like there's a swing starting to develop here going the other way.
Well, we will certainly continue to watch it closely. I think this was one of the first indicators from what we gather of just positive anecdotes in terms of however limited it might be. We are continuing to see deterioration in terms of the monthly prints from both Fastenal and Grainger. However, those companies have indicated that they feel like they see some sequential stabilization here over the next several months. We'll see how that shapes out, but this is something we, again, feel is relevant, and we'll certainly continue to watch on a month-to-month basis here as we go forward.
Okay, great. Well, Charles, I have an accounting and finance background, so I am very conservative and sometimes tend to focus on the precautionary side of things. I'm sure there's a lot of positive things here about the index itself and the charts, so I'm going to turn that over to you. Let's hear about all the good things we should see in this chart.
Yeah, sure. So again, the challenge for us is making sure that we aren't overly negative with respect to the data. If you just think about Grainger and Fastenal, I mean, these are high quality companies that continue to operate in what we believe is a tough environment. I do think that construction stays positive for the majority of the space next year, whether it's residential or non-residential construction. To date, this has been the one sort of piece that we think has been solid and has been a solid talking point, a strong talking point for the majority of distributors that have relatively more exposure here. So certainly we've heard anecdotal reports of strength in domestic auto, aerospace, perhaps some nascent momentum in municipal water. These are things that we'll continue to watch. And again, as it pertains specifically to the index, it's a sequential index, so I do think we will continue to see some improvement as we go. And this is something we're obviously staying optimistic on as well, despite the Dow 6-month forward outlook from participants.
Okay, that's a very positive outlook, so we're glad to hear that. We have been speaking with Charles Redding, Senior Analyst of BB&T Capital Markets, and this is Bob Baer with Abbott-Interfast, thanking you for your time. And if we did not put you to sleep, stay tuned, because there is more of Eric and Brian coming with more Fully Threaded Radio.
Once you're in this industry, you're not getting out. Good thing there's Fully Threaded Radio. Talk radio for the fastener industry.
Since 1905, Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company have been supplying the world with high-quality fasteners. Our standard product lines include weld fasteners, braided weld screws, leg levelers, self-clinching hardware, clevis pins, rivet nuts, and various other fastener lines, allowing us to support virtually all types of industries. We have complete custom manufacturing capabilities in low carbon, medium carbon, and stainless steel materials, and our quality systems are registered to ISO standards. Our on-staff engineering department can assist you with product development and provide total technical support. Our knowledgeable sales team members offer superior customer service and are here to answer any questions you may have regarding our products. Having a hard time finding a part? Let our sourcing specialists do the work for you to locate those items. We offer competitive pricing with typically smaller minimums and shorter lead times. To find out more about Buckeye Fasteners, please call us at 800-437-1689 or on the web at buckeyefasteners.com. Buckeye Fasteners, more than just weld.
Are you tired of empty promises from software vendors? Are you paying for support that you're not receiving? Is it time for another paid upgrade? There is a solution. InSequel delivers quality software designed for the fastener industry at an affordable price with industry-leading support. Unlike other software companies, with InSequel, you purchase your software once. There will never be a paid upgrade. If you need assistance with anything, InSequel is there to help. When you call, you will always speak with a real person offering you quick and knowledgeable answers to your questions. Can your current provider say this? Quality software, affordable pricing, industry-leading support. Only InSequel can deliver all three. So why settle? Call InSequel Software at 877-446-9775 or visit www.inxsql.com.
My customer sent me a print for a bolt specifically for the machine in his shop, but we can't make it.
Solution Man can. Provide me with a print, and my superhuman CNC machining team will custom make it for you faster than a manufacturer's rep drinking at an open bar. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
Wow, that is fast.
So are you at the Distributor Social, huh?
The leading event for fasteners and fixings in Latin America takes place June 1st and 2nd at the World Trade Center in Mexico City. Connect with thousands of fastener and fixing buyers at the Fastener Fair Mexico 2016. Fastener Fair Mexico is produced by Mack Brooks Exhibitions, the leader in international fastener shows and organizers of the Fastener Fair in Stuttgart. This will be the second edition of the Fastener Fair Mexico, and as the only dedicated fastener event in Latin America, it is sure to be a huge success once again. Fastener Fair Mexico is the perfect opportunity to grow your business by reaching new prospective buyers and partners from Mexico, Latin America, and beyond. Whether your business is focused on automotive, aerospace, construction, electronics, or household appliance manufacturing, Fastener Fair Mexico is where you need to be. To exhibit, contact the Fastener Fair Mexico team at 781-791-5011. Mack Brooks also invites distributors from across North America to attend this exciting show. To receive an invitation to attend Fastener Fair Mexico as our guest, please join our mailing list at www.fastenerfair.com/Mexico. Once again, www.fastenerfair.com/Mexico. We look forward to seeing you June 1st and 2nd at the Fastener Fair in Mexico City, and bienvenidos to the North American fastener industry.
Hey, this is Clayton Allen from Buckeye Fasteners in Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you, fighting for truth, justice, and the fastener way of life.
And that's worth fighting for.
I'll say. Don't get me started, though.
Okay, I won't.
We'll save it for the end of the podcast, Brian. Hey, everybody,
Okay.
We're joined for this segment right before the Fastener News with everybody's favorite fastener pal and blogger, Traveling Salesman. Hey, buddy.
How are you?
Oh, good, thanks. How about you?
I'm doing good. Doing very well.
Good.
Been a while since you joined us on the podcast. You've been out knocking on doors today?
I have all day long. It's been a long week already, and it's just midweek.
It's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it's how you make a living, so I'm good with it.
Okay.
Well, I'm not surprised. Hey, we wanted to ask you on the show today because there's some big news out there. Of course, everybody's talking about it. Everybody pretty much knows by now, so it's not a headline. But the Vegas show, owned by Jim Bannister and Mike McGuire, was recently sold. The press release is out there everywhere. A company by the name of Emerald Exhibitions has acquired the show, and I think you had it on your blog. You were one of the first to break the news. What kind of reactions did you hear?
It's interesting. During this week, as I've been out, a lot of people weren't aware that it's been sold yet, and people are a little surprised, and then maybe not. Had a few interesting discussions with some people, though, about what that means. And, as the news release said, Jim Bannister is still going to remain on as a consultant, and Susan Hurley will remain on managing the show, I believe. But it will be very interesting. I hope Emerald knows what they bought, because that's been an important show to our industry for a lot of years and dates back to the Columbus show. And, there's a lot of people that count on that show year after year to increase their business connections. And actually a lot of people, use that show to make money. They make connections that lead to buying and selling a fastener. So it's important to our industry.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And I'll just let you know, the news broke, at least the press release is dated November 12th from Emerald. Had an opportunity to speak with David Lochner. He's the CEO over there at Emerald Exhibitions. And I will say this, although they, I think, are taking a very measured approach to how they look at the show at this point, and you're right, Jim and Susan will still be involved. I'm not too worried about anything earth-shattering this first year. They seem like a very, very knowledgeable exhibition management company, so I'm not really worried about things on that front. But in terms of innovating the show or doing things differently and so forth like that, that pretty much remains to be seen. I mean, I don't think they do know what they have, from that standpoint.
Yeah, there's a history there, but it could go two different ways. If they change it too many ways, I'm sure people will let them know, and people are, going to complain if they don't like what's going on. But they really do have an opportunity to blow it up bigger and better. And I think there's a number of ways that they could do that, and might make sense for them to pull the people that buy exhibit space every year. Just one little pet peeve of mine is, and I've said this different times on my blog, they have a 1-hour opening bash. They gather all kinds of people into one room, and then after an hour they scatter. And I understand people have dinners, but when you gather that many decision makers in one room, I would like to see it be a 3-hour event, whether it starts earlier or if it goes to a cash bar. But a lot of people say that they come there to network. They do look at booths, but I do have some major companies that have said, look, I hardly look at the booths. I'm there to meet with people. And if the new ownership can find a way to expand that and increase the networking, I think it would be a better show for it. I know that they're moving next door to where they had it this year to get more, exhibition space. And I think it's been announced that in 2017 they're moving to the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Correct.
I'm guessing it's because of space. So if they need more space, I don't know what they're going to do with that space. If they're going to try and attract a lot more different type of exhibitors. I know they have some machine operators right now, and maybe they're trying to increase that. Maybe they try and branch out into some other areas. Even maybe some of the people that only exhibit at STAFTA would be invited. I don't know what they're thinking. No one has obviously spoken to me about it, but they could blow it up bigger and better. Or, I guess they really don't want, they shouldn't mess with something that's been working really well for a number of years. So they have an opportunity to make it really good. We'll see if they do it.
And there's not as if the show couldn't be improved. I mean, if you go to some other shows like Lynn and I went to a show put on by the National Distribution Organization, and that was staggeringly professional, okay, versus some that I've been to.
Well, once again, time will tell. Emerald seems to be a very professional outfit, and once they get their arms around this thing, who knows what they'll come up with. I guess we will see.
Yeah, next year. I mean, it'll be an interesting show for that reason. We'll see, is there any visible change to it? If not, just a big ho-hum, isn't it?
Oh, never, Bri. Never the Vegas show. Hey, everybody, we've got headlines coming up momentarily with Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International. And speaking of headlines, before we get to that, I saw one flash across over there at Global Fastener News, and wanted to run this by you quickly, traveling salesman. The headline was, "Will Amazon.com force you to innovate?" And one of the comments in there, apparently there was an analyst speaking recently at Stelfast, and one of his comments was, their selling mission of selling everything needed to rebuild civilization is no exaggeration, is contained in there. And curious about the doors you knock on. You hear anybody that's getting any flack these days, or see Amazon encroaching into their territory?
No, I haven't seen that yet. I don't know of anybody buying things off Amazon. I think I've had some customers look on there to see what they were selling product for, and it made them happy that the price they were charging wasn't anything threatening to them. And that's really the extent of what I've seen or heard out in the marketplace. I do know of some companies I've heard that sell stuff through Amazon, and I think they're doing okay. So somebody's buying some Amazon product. But in terms of causing distributors to innovate, I don't see them causing that. A couple of the suppliers that have gone with very advanced computer systems, ordering online, I think they've caused people to look at their business model, but I don't think it's been Amazon.
Right. Well, I guess this is another one where time's going to tell. And I'd have to ask this, maybe they released this too early, because rebuilding civilization, I mean, what do they know that we don't know? Everywhere you look, we seem to be on the brink of destruction. So
yeah, maybe Jeff Bezos, maybe he knows something that we don't know. But the problem is, to buy it, you've got to be able to find it. And I went out there to try and find some stainless steel spacers because I didn't need enough to be able to actually buy from any of our own members. And I gave up. I could not find what I was looking for. It kept showing me all this real, crazy crap that was nothing to do with what I was actually trying to search for.
Well, I bet you they're going to improve on that side of things, but we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know enough about the model to comment, but hey, they are Amazon, so we will watch that.
They're very good at selling books, okay?
That is true.
And delivering them.
Hey, everybody, the Fastener News Report today is brought to us by Volt Industrial Plastics and Fastenal. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening. Get with us anytime at the email address ftr@fullythreaded. We're also out there on Twitter under the handle Fully Threaded. TS, I'd like to thank you for dropping in, giving us your 2 cents.
Yeah.
Glad to do it anytime. I always enjoy talking to you guys.
And now for a guy who's hyper-focused on the fastener world, here's Mike McNulty.
Thanks, Eric and Brian. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International Magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored today by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. I was planning on making some snarky comments about infantile college students standing their ground in the face of American microaggressions and other first world problems like watching the Cleveland Browns try to play NFL football. But given the recent chaos and damage caused by the ongoing stream of lunatic terrorists, I am simply going to say that I am still focused on fasteners and ready to deliver the Fastener News Report. In today's report, we are going to reveal the latest results of the Fastener Distributor Index, also known as the FDI. Also in today's broadcast, we have newsmaker headlines from GL Hewitt, Optimus OE Solutions, ND Industries, Hollingsworth Distribution Systems, Buckeye Fasteners, Worth Industry of North America, Lisai Automotive, Elgin Fastener Group, Trimass Corporation, Crescent Manufacturing, and the Las Vegas Fastener Expo. On the back page report, we're going to talk about the size of the global fastener market. We will get to all of that and last month's FDI results right after this.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Volt Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at voltplastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Volt Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or Fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting Fastenal.com today.
In this economy, I need to cut cost and freight or I'll lose my customer.
Solution Man, Ken. The more you order, the more you'll save. With free freight on orders over $1,000. See the Solution Industries website for details at solution.ind.com.
Solution Man, you're my fastener hero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
Back to the Fastener News Report with Mike McNulty.
In October 2015, the FDI inched up to a seasonally adjusted level of 50.1, just above the growth line for the first time since June, and markedly better than the 47.5 result from September. Fastener Distributor Index data is collected and analyzed by BB&T Capital Markets, the FCH Sourcing Network, and the National Fastener Distributors Association. The FDI seeks to identify demand, pricing, and outlook trends within the American fastener distribution industry. As you heard earlier in the podcast, BB&T Capital Markets senior analyst Charles Redding and industry contributor Bob Baer of the Midwest Fastener Association discussed the significance and design of the FDI and its relationship to the PMI. The improved October reading was buoyed by sequential increases in sales and employment sentiment, while pricing and inventory results remained stagnant, leaving BB&T to term their view of the current fastener distribution industry as notably cautious. One FDI survey respondent had this to say: "From everywhere we are seeing and hearing in the industry, the market for fasteners is basically flat." Another respondent took a darker view of things, adding this: "The farm and construction equipment markets continue to soften. New home sales are starting to decline, which drives down demand for new equipment as well. 2016 is not going to be easy." And my final FDI note is that the 6-month outlook slipped again to just 28%, expecting higher results by the beginning of the second quarter of 2016. To learn more about the FDI and to participate, visit www.fdisurvey.com. Next up, today's Fastener Newsmaker headlines. G.L. Hewitt, based in Minneapolis, Kansas, has acquired Precision Specialties, a privately held fastener distributor located in Collierville, Tennessee. Since 1981, Precision Specialties has distributed a diverse range of industrial and specialty fasteners across North America. G.L. Hewitt also reports a significant expansion of its offering of heritage brand precision ground dowel pins and spiral ground hollow dowels to an expanded inventory level of more than $1 million. Optimus OE Solutions in Glenville, Illinois, has acquired UK-based Barton Cold Form Limited. The transaction allows Optimus to increase its capacity and strengthen its European presence while supporting an existing manufacturing and engineering facility in Wooddale, Illinois. ND Industries in Clawson, Michigan, says that its new stay-put washer increases assembly process efficiency. The stay-put washer is used to hold a fastener or multiple components in place before final assembly. Hollingsworth Distribution Systems, based in Dearborn, Michigan, a provider of precision fasteners and cold form parts, has appointed Michael Schutt as its new manager of product development. Buckeye Fasteners in Berea, Ohio, has added arc studs and JIS weld nuts to its fastener offerings. Buckeye Fasteners, a division of Fastener Industries Incorporated, has been helping customers anchor their products in many industries since 1905, and it is the sole factory direct source of the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company. Worth Industry of North America, based in Indianapolis, Indiana, has named Marty Goree as Director of Key Accounts. Marty will oversee all national accounts, leading company efforts to maintain and expand relationships with large multi-location customers. Lisai Automotive has begun operations at a new plant in Monterrey, Mexico, to provide clients in the American market with fastener solutions. This first plant will make clip solutions and distribute the full range of Lisi automotive fasteners and safety products. Elgin Fastener Group in Brecksville, Ohio has announced the recent transition of Pete Koznacki to the position of VP of Sales and Marketing. EFG also welcomes Mike Melagurano as Director of Inside Sales and Customer Service. TriMas Corporation in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, has acquired certain assets and personnel related to Parker Hannifin's Tolleson, Arizona facility, which makes complex machine parts for the aerospace industry. In addition, TriMas's All-Fast Fastening Systems division was awarded by Embraer the winner of the 2015 Supplier of the Year award for hardware. Crescent Manufacturing in Burlington, Connecticut has acquired machinery, a broad range of heading and threading tooling, and the customer list and files of Perfection Screw and Rivet. The acquisition expands Crescent tooling and manufacturing capability, allowing the company to make longer, smaller diameter parts. Crescent also announced 2 new manufacturing reps, Jerry Keefe of RGS Sales covering Illinois, Iowa, and Nebraska, and Craig Copper of Westera Marketing Associates for Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Western Canada. And our top Fastener Newsmaker headline is one that Eric and Brian already discussed earlier in the show. Emerald Expositions in San Juan Capistrano, California, has acquired the National Industrial Fastener and Mill Supply Expo from Jim Bannister and Mike McGuire, the show's co-owners. Fastener Expo is an attractive entry point for us into the industrials sector and broadens our end market exposure and opportunities, said David Lochner, Emerald Expositions CEO. To ensure a seamless transition, Bannister, who operated the show since its inception 35 years ago, will provide consulting services to Emerald and will support Susan Hurley, who will continue to manage the Las Vegas Fastener Expo from her office in Ohio. The financial terms of the deal were not disclosed. Finally, let's turn to the back page to talk about the global market for fasteners. According to a report from Market Research Report search engine, MRRSE, based in Albany, New York, the global industrial fasteners market is gaining momentum due to the rise in construction and maintenance activities across the globe. Increased demand for automobiles, especially in emerging economies such as Brazil, China, and India, is also another significant growth factor. In 2011, the global fastener market was valued at $65.5 billion. The market is expected to grow slightly above 5% per year over the next few years to reach just under $95 billion by the end of 2018. The construction application segment is expected to expand at a higher rate of 9% per year during the same time frame. MRRSE says that by 2018, Asia-Pacific region will consume 45% of the total market share of fasteners. So in the near future, the global market for fasteners will rise above $100 billion. A pretty big number, large enough to keep lots of people, including today's level-headed and industrious college students, focused on fasteners for many years to come. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International, bringing you the Fastener News Report. Remember to send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at McNulty@FastenerTech.com.
Next up, it's another landmark interview. This time, Dan Zehnder speaks with Surinder Sakhuja of Stelfast. It's fully threaded. When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stelfast today through our website at www.stelfast.com and put us to work for you. Stelfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
First, there was fire, and man said,
"Fire, good."
Then there was the wheel, and man said,
"Wheel, good."
With the invention of the wheel came the need for fasteners, and man loudly exclaimed,
"Buckeye, good."
Buckeye Fasteners, providing quality products since the dawn of man. The preceding message was brought to you by Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company, proud Fastener Show sponsors of Old Rusty Bolt Beer, official beer of the Traveling Salesman.
Tell 'em Grog sent you.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industry serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
Well, hi, everyone. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute, brought to you by Fastener Training Institute and Carver Consulting. From time to time in my classroom, if you've been in one of my classrooms, you've heard me say, if you ever have a technical question or any kind of question, sales, purchasing, career advice even, send me an email and I will answer it for you. And so I get these questions from time to time, and they're always very informative and interesting, and I call them war stories. So when we come back, we're going to talk about one of these war stories that has to do with the use of a socket set screw. And you're going to learn two lessons. One is a technical lesson about set screws, and the other one is a good sales lesson. So come back in a minute and rejoin the Fastener Training Minute. Thanks, Carmen. This is John Walkman for the Fastener Training Institute. As you all know by now, the National Industrial Fastener Show has been sold. I want to thank both Mike McGuire and Jim Bannister, the co-founders of this great event, for their long-standing and generous support of fastener product training. Educational opportunities have always been an important part of this show. We are confident that show manager Susan Hurley will continue this legacy of support. On a personal note, I exhibited at the first show in Columbus and attended all but one since. The Vegas Fastener Show is my favorite and most productive week of the year. To Mike and Jim, I say, be well and thanks for the memories. We are pleased and proud to announce that the Midwest Fastener Association will be hosting our CFS Week in Chicago next August. As always, this event is co-produced by FTI and the Industrial Fasteners Institute. Now, with this new venue, CFS Week will be offered 4 times next year in Los Angeles, Chicago, and twice in Cleveland. The FTI calendar is winding down. Carmen Vertullo is developing a special webinar for December. Details will be on our website later this week. Our webinars are content-rich, convenient, and cost-effective. They are live and interactive with 60 minutes of presentation followed by 30 minutes of question and answer period. All you need is a device with high-speed web connection. We continue to look for webinar sponsors to help support these programs. AVK Industrial Products is sponsoring next March webinar covering blind threaded inserts. Star Stainless Screw is sponsoring next May's webinar on corrosion-resistant fasteners and stainless steel fastener specifications. Contact us about sponsorship information. Please visit our website, fastenertraining.org, to see our complete 2016 schedule with both class and webinar registration details. Now, back to Carmen for our Fastener Training Minute.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute. A few minutes ago, I told you about a situation where one of my students sent me a question on email regarding an application with a socket set screw. This was a 3/4 inch by fairly long 3 or 4 inch alloy steel socket set screw, and the user was breaking these set screws. And so, of course, they thought something was wrong with them and complained to the customer. They sent me a video. I got to see exactly what they were doing. What they were doing with this set screw is it was in a structural application where they were screwing it into a blind hole and using it as a stud. They were going to hang the steel on that stud, put a nut on it, and tighten that nut down. Well, the set screws were breaking. The customer was very frustrated. They had good engineering on this, they thought, because, as you know, socket set screws are very strong materials. They're very hard with ASTM F912 requirements of 45 to 53 Rockwell C, which is about the hardest threaded fastener that we have. Now, the problem is whenever fasteners in general or materials are very hard, they also tend to be brittle. And so socket set screws are not meant to be used in tensile applications, and that's what they were doing with this particular set screw. Sadly, they sent it out to a lab, wasted a bunch of money trying to figure out if something was wrong with the material or not, when there was in fact nothing wrong with it. It was simply an application issue. We told the customer this information. They were happy to hear it, but of course, you never want to just say something to the customer regarding their application problem. You want to give them what I like to call an authoritative citation. And in this case, it came from ASTM F912. If you have your IFI 9th edition, look that up on page 506. And it says this in paragraph 1.2. It says, these set screws are intended for compression applications only. So it's one thing to say, hey, I heard it on Fully Threaded Radio. It's another thing to be able to say ASTM F912 says that. So those are your two lessons. One is socket set screws are not made for tensile applications, and the other is whenever you want to give a customer some technical information, always use an authoritative citation. And if it turns out that you have this situation and it involves a metric set screw, you would go to ISO 898-5 Annex A, which says the use of set screws of hardness of this class under tensile stress is not recommended. Thanks for listening. This has been Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute.
Hi, this is Drew from Trinity Hardware Headquarters, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio, the best marriage of politics and fastener news you will ever hear.
Well, good day, everyone. It's wonderful to be here again. This is another broadcast of Legends of the Industry. My name is Dan Zehnder. I'm the host of the program today. And what a wonderful day it is. Just thrilled to be able to have this show on today and this guest. When I first started in this industry, one of the very first business meetings I was a part of was with our guest today. I remember that meeting as one of the most exciting and high-energy meetings in my entire career. Mr. Surinder Sakhuja is truly a legend in our industry. Welcome, Surinder. Glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Is this one of the greatest days of your life or what?
Well, I would say definitely it is, talking to you and talking to, this broadcast, and I think this is a wonderful day.
Yes, well, thank you. I've looked forward to this for a long time. I remember that when you and I sat down with my dad and uncle and Tom Barrett and the whole gang, the stories that you told, I literally thought that I was at the feet of some of the tallest trees in the industry, for sure.
Well, I got lots of stories. That's why, Simi keeps telling me that I need to write a book because, let's face it, I've been at it since 1974, and I've probably done millions of miles in the air traveling for Fastener Industry. But then again, the stories come once you have a little bit of a glass of wine or a cocktail in your hand very quickly.
Yes, and those are some of the greatest memories for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, first question, how did you wind up in the fastener industry?
That's a $100 million question, not even a $1 million question. I'll be honest with you, our company was known as SS Limited, ES Limited, as I'm quite sure you're aware of that. In the 70s, we started in 71, and we were looking for a general manager for our manufacturing company where we used to produce screw machine product and gears. And we hired somebody who came from Fastener Industry, used to work for Infasco in Marino. And this gentleman, when he came, and he had time in his hand and started dabbling in buying a little bit of nuts from Mercer Steel in Montreal and selling it to distributors. And I looked at the margins on it. I said, wait a minute, this is a good business. And that's what got me into nut and bolt business in 72, actually, to be very precise. And besides running our manufacturing, we started dabbling in nuts and bolts.
So besides nuts and bolts, what were you producing at that time?
We were producing screw machine parts and gears, and we used to, believe it or not, all the things in 70s when people bought like a GE blender or a Sunbeam blender, they used to have fiber gears in them.
Oh, sure.
And we used to produce all those fiber gears for General Electric and Sunbeam and all these companies. And all the fans people bought, which were called oscillating fans, and we used to produce all the worm and worm gear for the oscillating fans, which were manufactured in Canada. And then we used to produce all kinds of hitch parts on our multi-spindle screw machines for the truck and trailer industry. And that's what we used to do all day long. And we had about close to 45 pieces of equipment producing gears and screw machine parts.
Oh, wonderful. So from those early years back in the early 70s, what do you recall as being one of the most exciting moments jumping into the fastener side of the business?
Well, I'll tell you a very good story because you're part of that story. And also when I say you're part of that story, your company's part of that story. I remember calling Ernest Machine in, probably it was 73 or 74. And there was in 74, some shortages started on the nut products. So I ended up talking to a Mr. Schuster. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh, Ed Schuster, absolutely.
Yes. And I spoke to Ed Schuster, and he took my call, which was a, blind sales call, and we got talking, and he says, do you have any nuts? I said, what are you looking for? And he told me what he's looking for, and I picked up the phone, and I called the company again, I repeat, Mercer Steel, who was in Montreal, who was the largest importer in Canada. So he had a truckload of 5/8 heavy hex nut, 2H from Spain. So he gave me a price, and I gave Mr. Schuster a price. Next day, Mr. Schuster was in Toronto. I brought in the sample for him to approve, and he did, and he bought the whole truckload of that material. And I made reasonable amount of profit, and that is my going into what you call a container load of sales, and that was my biggest sale ever of nuts and bolts in the 70s.
Wow. Well, yes, I remember those early times and products that we purchased through you.
Yeah. And we used to do that. And then, of course, as the time went by, we became, our company or me, myself, got known as Nut Kings and so on and so forth because that's all we sold. And Ernest Machine at that time, not that because you are talking to me and I'm only talking Ernest Machine, at that time, Ernest Machine was one of the largest customers Stelfast had or SS had in all United States of America.
Mm-hmm. In those early years, what were your visions and dreams for your business, Surinder?
To be very honest with you, I was not dreaming at that time because I was quite comfortable in life with my machining jobs and with my screw machines and gear production, and then got into nut and bolt business. Then I had exclusive agencies of large diameter nuts from Poland, and then I had the privilege of buying from China, which many of the U.S. importers could not do because they were not allowed to travel to China, and being a Canuck or Canadian, I was allowed to go there. So I was able to do a lot of that work and bring in all kinds of varieties of nuts. It was exciting times, but then again, the visions were there, but the funds were limited.
Sure.
So then you could only visualize to what you could afford to visualize.
Yeah, my dad always often has said to me, I wish I've had checks for all your dreams.
Yes, a very good statement. Very. He was a very, very, very smart individual, and he always came up with certain words like this, which we all listened to, including your dad and your uncle and Tom Barrett and myself.
Oh yeah.
And he had knowledge beyond our imagination.
Yeah, he was a great man, and
yeah.
As your daughter says too, Dad, write the book. I often heard too, the money's going to be in the movie someday.
Well, they got to find a bald actor, you see. With an
you can
Indian
play
accent.
yourself.
With an
wonderful.
Indian accent.
You'd be a
they will
wonderful
need a
actor.
younger guy to start,
Well, you've worked in a family business for a long time. How have you learned to make the family dynamics work?
Well, actually, the basic education of mine came from my father, who passed away at a very young age, because we've been in manufacturing business for many, many years. My father used to own 3 factories in India, where we used to make hinges and belt lacings, because in those days all the belts were leather or canvas, and they had to be put together with the joints. And we used to make those things known as belt lacings. And we used to make those in India. So I learned on sitting on his knees and seeing how it is done. So then, when he passed away, it was passed on to me, and then I got my scholarship and left India. So, you learn from your parents to what they teach you, and those values stay with you forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, that's well put. Very well put. You, I myself, having been in this industry now 30 plus years, look at guys like you and others in this industry that have been tremendous men of integrity and good value and make things happen. And I've learned that you've built your business it doesn't just happen. You've had to be intentional and be a leader in what you do. So how do you see yourself setting yourself apart as a leader?
Well, it's we don't sell. We have not invented the wheel. We have not invented anything. All we have done is very simply is be honest, be straightforward, tell the truth, and back up what you say and back up your product. Like we are one of the very few importers existing in the last about 40 years where when we are behind schedules by weeks or months because our suppliers have not delivered the parts and our customers need the product.
Yeah. I can tell you from our own experience as Trinity, when Stelfast is a very proactive company in informing and keeping customers aware of what's happening, what's coming when.
We don't want to be the cheapest. We have not invented the wheel. We stand behind our quality. And we have done in the past where we have taken a full container and brought it by air and paid $60,000 or $80,000 and took a loss ourselves because we were close to 2.5 months behind schedule. So that is what builds us up, and that is why our growth is there, is because the customers, those that deal with us, they have a good feeling about us. They hear in the industry that we stand behind. We back up what we say, and we stand behind what promises we make.
Well, and as a customer, Surinder, I can tell you from my Trinity team that they often speak of Stelfast very highly. The integrity, the quality of the people that you have, and you stand behind your word. You're a very good supplier.
Well, thank you, and we are grateful to them for saying good things about our company.
If you've joined us late, this is Dan Zehnder. We're doing Legends of the Industry, and today we have Mr. Surinder Sakhuja with us, and we're having a wonderful conversation about the history and his experiences, and just a very wonderful program today. So, Surinder, continuing, besides technology, changes in computers and such, how have you seen the industry change?
Of course, everybody knows the change only has taken place in the last few years of consolidation. Bigger guns are involved. I'm talking about on the import side. And the industry has changed quite a bit. As you know, many, many years ago, we were many importers. Then again, many years ago, many of the distributors did not know how to import. So the evolution has come that where the importers or distributors have learned how to import now. Those are big volumes, they're doing their own importation, and which is a good thing. Although it takes away business from people like us, but it's a good thing because it has to move in that direction. And it should move in that direction. There's no question about it. Because in certain areas, probably I'm cutting my own feet, that a middleman does not play a very big role because there's no need for the middle person.
Mm-hmm.
And the need is that when you have to be competitive, as a distributor has to be competitive because you got many, many competitors. For us, we are now only 2 or 3 or 4 people left in this business, and which are 100% importers. So
Right.
Otherwise, the other changes, like I think we are using the same technology, same nuts and bolts, what we used probably hundreds of years ago, particularly when you talk about, low carbons and medium carbons and all that has been there, I think, before I was born, and I'm close to 75 years old. So besides that, I don't see much of the changes in the product, but I do see a lot of changes in the industry.
Well, you seem to have learned to adapt very well. Individually, personally, and as a company. How have you adapted? How have you made that happen?
Well, what we do is not only we listen to our customers to what their needs and requirements are. I do a lot of traveling overseas, or I used to do a lot of traveling overseas. And I watch what's going on. I discuss with our suppliers, because the beautiful thing about Stelfast is that we are dealing with the same suppliers which I used to deal with in 1974. So they learn from us, we learn from them, we learn what is happening globally, because suppliers which we deal with, their product goes globally, whether it's Europe or North America or Central America or Africa or Australia or New Zealand or whatever. And that helps us a lot. And we know, listening to them, where the world is going to, where the industry is moving to. The biggest thing we gain is not by lecturing them, we gain by listening to them.
Very good point. Of all the things you've experienced over the years, what's one story or situation that really stands out in your mind as most memorable?
Oh, God. You put me in a spot now. I got to really take the memory back here, there, and everywhere. But the most memorable story is that I would say that when I met the first time one of the owners of a company in Taiwan, and that is San Ching. And when I sat down with Quan Li, he couldn't speak a word of English, and I couldn't speak a darn word of Mandarin. And I sat down with his agent, who could speak, of course, English. And here, after about 4 or 5 hours of translations going on, he was able to open up and use few words of English in the conversation. And then we decided, Mr. Quan Li and I, to go out and have a drink together. We went and had a couple of drinks together in a bar, and it was only 2 of us. Now picture this for a moment. He cannot speak English, and I cannot speak Mandarin. And here we are sitting there. I don't know how we did it. We were able to communicate somehow, and we were able to make some decisions, and I was able to convince him to develop some product for me without him speaking English and without me speaking Mandarin. Now that story sticks with me, and I can even dream about it sometime. Now, how we did it, don't ask me. How it was managed, don't ask me. But the beautiful thing is both of us were not drunk or anything. We were sober. But we were using a sign language to a degree, and none of us knows what a sign language was or is. Sure. But we were successful, and that's where I moved some of my special parts from Japan to Taiwan. Sitting in that place, Quan Li and me talking only, not with his agent, and neither one of us could speak each other's language.
That's an amazing story. That's an amazing account when you think about how much relationships really do matter.
Yep. And we still have a relationship, although the ownership has changed, everything has changed. Lee family is no longer involved with it. They are still my friends, and the new ownership is good friends, and we still do business with them. And the first order I remember placing with them was in October 74.
Wow. It's still a people business even today, and relationships still matter today. That's a very good account.
Yeah.
You're part of a great legacy. You're now part of this Legends of the Industry program, and so for all time in history, we'll have this at our fingertips. To what do you owe? When you look at that and you think about your history, to what do you owe your tremendous success?
My success is, number one, is the people, which I'll be honest with you. Number two is our suppliers. And number three is our honesty, integrity, and being there when we are needed. Now, I can praise the customer as much as you want, But if you don't deliver it to the customer, praising a customer does not mean anything. How do you deliver it to the customer if you don't have a good supplier? How do you have a good supplier if their quality is no good? If their quality is no good, if they don't deliver on time, what do you do? So it's a domino effect. If one thing goes wrong, everything will go wrong. But you got to start from the beginning and work and make sure that your supplier, your steamship company, your QC, your marketing team, all the other teams you have, that you deal with them with honesty, integrity, and with respect. And if you do that, you will have no difficulty in expanding your business, retaining your clients, because you're providing them a service which they definitely deserve, and they're paying for it.
Sure. Well, that's a very important point. I remember our first meeting, the very first time I met you in 1978 in Cleveland. You said to me, welcome to the industry, and in front of the family and other longtime members of the company, you had told me that, be a person of integrity, be a person of character, and your business will grow. And I always thought that was a tremendous lesson, and one I still carry today. And I can tell you 30 plus years later, you were right.
Well, if you look at it, you look at your grandfather's company who started, and you look at people like Tom Barrett, the man who has integrity coming out of his bald head, like many other people. And you look at people like Tom McKay, you look at Mr. Schuster, you look at your dad, you look at your uncle, you look at all of those people, those are were there, most of them are retired. And because that's why you have the same thing, because it was instilled upon you by your grandfather, by the people, those that were associated with your grandfather's company. And in particularly, to be very honest with you, a person like Tom Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've got so great memories, because Tom and I used to travel together to Japan. We used to do our buying together, believe it or not. And none of us could carry a tune, and we used to sing on the roads together. So, these are the memories.
Yes. Well, I know, in addition to doing things right with honesty and integrity, one of the things, and having been the benefactor of your generosity at some dinners and things like that, the other thing I would notice that when I think of you, Surinder, I think you have taught people how to laugh and how to enjoy life.
I look at it this way, as you know, you've been in this business that many years now. We've gone through ups and downs.
Yes.
We have gone through recessions. We've gone through, the latest one was 2009, and now, of course, whatever is happening is besides the point. You can never come up or make a good decision or come up with the answer if you are thinking too much, if you're depressed, if you're doing this. But if you can really enjoy your life within your means and keep your mind fresh for new ideas to flow through, no matter whether you lose money or make money, you will always come up with a bright idea at one time or the other. It may be in your dreams, it may be while you're wide awake. And laughter is the best medicine to keep you alive and keep you stimulated all the time.
Yes, very true. Very true. Well, anything new at Stelfast you want to share? Any thoughts? Any exciting news or products or?
Well, the products is the new thing is very simple. As I'm quite sure many people in the industry know, that we just opened a new warehouse in Seattle, Washington, which opened, I think, in July of this year. And we are looking at a few other locations. Hopefully next year, we may add another 1 or 2 locations to where it is needed. We're working on about 4 or 5 different product lines, which we may decide to carry sometime in the latter part of next year. But we have not finalized them yet, because we don't know whether it is something it's going to be beneficial to our customers, it's going to benefit Stelfast, or it's just going to be for the sake of adding new line, which we don't like to do. So we're looking at all these things, but the biggest thing I am excited about is that where our team is motivated and we are looking at new opportunities, and with the same product lines what we carry and then some, and we are adding more and more customers on our automotive side where the product lines are increasing quite a bit, because as the designs change and the models change, I love the engineers, because being an engineer myself, because they keep on changing the design every 2 years, which does a very good job for us to let us make some more money.
Right. Well, that's great. Even at 75, you continue to have the vision and keep plotting to the future.
That's what I think all of us try to do.
We should, absolutely. Any closing thoughts or comments, Surinder?
Well, the closing thoughts are that now, as you know, that Stelfast is owned and run by Surinder Sakhuja, and she's my daughter, and she's working pretty hard, and the direction of Stelfast is the same, but thought process of Stelfast has changed because she's more computer savvy than me. I'm more of a Cardex person, which have gone but like the dodo birds. And we also know that today the price of steel has gone down considerably, but then again, the steel is not 100% part of a fastener, but it's only about anywhere between 20 to 40% part of a fastener. And the industry is going through a little rough time, probably for the next few months. And those they can visualize and those they can adjust, and they will succeed.
Right.
There is a lot of opportunities in this industry, and I encourage anybody that who needs advice, who needs guidance, who wants to get into this business. My door is always open.
Well, and it's that generosity and that spirit that continues to truly underscore the fact that you are a legend in this industry, Surinder. It's been an amazing opportunity to have this time with you today. On behalf of all of us, we appreciate it very, very much. Now we hope that this, of course, being the highlight of your day, you'll be able to still enjoy the rest of your day. Do you think that's possible?
Let's put it this way. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been asked to do this for a long time, and I'm glad I did this interview, and particularly with you, because I'll be very frank and honest with you, that love and respect I had for your family, particularly your dad and your granddad, and of course, not your relation or any relative, but then again, one of the very big part of Owner's Machine, Tom Barrett. I can't say anything more about you and your family. You're like a son I don't have, and I'm very grateful that you're the one who's doing the interview.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, and I will tell you that I've always looked up to you as a man of integrity and one with great credibility and focus, and very confident in who he is and what he can do, and I've wanted to learn from that, and I have. And so, again, personally, I thank you for the time today. It's been wonderful.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for your time.
I want to thank our audience for listening to the program. Hope that you've enjoyed it. This is Dan Zehnder with Legends of the Industry, with Mr. Surinder Sakhuja of Stelfast today, a true legend of the industry.
Brian and Eric, your online Fastener Talk Radio brothers in thread. Fully threaded radio.
Breaking news. TrinityHardwareHQ.com has just announced they're dropping their minimum online order purchase to only $25. It's true. Earlier today, pure pandemonium broke out with all the rumors flying around Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, LinkedIn. However, it's now on TMZ, so we know it's the real deal. Government officials are urging citizens to immediately log on to TrinityHardwareHQ.com and take advantage of this unprecedented offer. Wait, this just in. We just found out that THHQ has a new packaging facility in Muscatine. Our fact checkers are checking where that is, but we think it's Iowa. Wait, there's more. My source tells me that they've just restructured their purchasing department to streamline the process and bring the savings to their customers. I'm also being reminded that THHQ.com has over 30,000 varieties of fasteners, including package clamps and carriage bolts, a full assortment of plow bolts, and a list of services including packaging, kitting, and polybagging. We also offer hold and release options in pallet or quarter keg shipments, along with secondary services such as patching, machining, drilling, and more. Make TrinityHardwareHQ.com your one-stop shopping destination. Trinity, for parts done right.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker. If you're listening to Fully Threaded, then you're no doubt aware of the FCH sourcing network found at FastenersClearinghouse.com. You've probably also heard about our legendary scrubber software that makes listing your inventory on FCH a snap. But have you heard about the new FCH SmartLink interface? With SmartLink, users of Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One have a new weapon in the war against excess inventory, because each of these platforms now links directly to the FCH scrubber system through an automated interface. The best part is that this new tool is available at no additional charge to FCH members who use Business Edge, InSequel, or Distribution One. With SmartLink, you can keep your inventory listings up to date with the click of a button, so it's a win-win for all FCH users. The new FCH FastLink interface is really big news, and we'll be thrilled to have your company using it. Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One users should contact their software provider for details, or just call me, Brian Musker. You can reach me through the FCH website at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for scrubber.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industry serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
I don't have time to look for the best price for a socket head cap screw zinc plated with a patch.
Solution Man can. Let me handle all of your secondary processes, and I'll even ship the finished product. One price, one purchase order, one invoice, and one shipment equals one solution. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionInd.com.
Solution Man, you're my primary source for secondary processes.
Good one.
This is Rich from Metric and Multi, live at the Midwest Fastener Tech Show, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you on the online Fastener Funhouse, Fully Threaded Radio.
And some funhouse it is. Well, there's a lot to think about there, but I agree with Surinder on some things. When he says, laughter is the best medicine, you have to actually have some fun at doing your job in this business. Otherwise, it just gets too dull.
Yeah, especially these days, man. Like we were talking at the beginning of the show. And don't worry, I've got something to discuss at the end of the show to really pick us up again. But
good.
Because it's probably no coincidence that he brought that up, and man, I guess I really needed to hear that. So I'm very glad that he was able to be on the show and say what he said.
Good. Yes, so do I.
I know Dan Zehnder's a big advocate of positive thinking as well. And another cool thing, both of those gentlemen are part of sponsor companies of Fully Threaded Radio, so that makes it even so much better.
That's true. Yes, we've had long relationships with both of them, actually, much to our benefit.
And let's hope a little bit to theirs as well.
Yeah.
So let's formally thank Mr. Surinder Sakhuja of Stelfast and Dan Zehnder of Trinity for participating on the show today. Also appearing were Bob Baer of Abbott-Interfast, Charles Redding of BB&T Capital Markets, industry blogger, traveling salesman, and, of course, Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International magazine. He had the Fastener News Report for us today. Hey, Carmen Vertullo had the Fastener Training Minute. Sometimes I forget to mention him. Good job again today, Carm.
Yes.
And we look forward to having him on for a full segment sometime soon, Brian. He and I were speaking, and we were trying to hatch a couple of topics, and gosh, there is no shortage of them.
What, hydrogen embrittlement and hydrogen embrittlement?
It sometimes seems that way, but yes, there are a lot of subjects beyond that to talk about, and believe me, we will cover them.
Good.
In addition to our guests, I'd like to thank our sponsors. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast, for service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stelfast. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, Trinity, for parts done right, and Lindstrom, and the Lindstrom family of companies, including Titan Fasteners. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded are Buckeye Fasteners, Fastenal, Fastener Technology International, InSequel Software, Indie Industries, The Worth Group, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. Appreciate y'all listening in, folks, as always, and we hope to hear from you. You can get with us anytime at the email address ftr@fullythreaded.com or under Twitter under the handle fullythreaded.
Right.
We don't say it often enough, but if you do use a mobile device, you can see this really on the homepage, Fully Threaded homepage. You can subscribe using your iPhone, using your Android. Those interfaces have really improved a lot over the years, but I noticed we still have a lot of people that stream the podcast, Bri, and it's still an option. You can put it on your smartphone, listen on the road, in the air, wherever you might be.
Right. It's a good way of passing a bit of time if you're on a long trip.
Finally, everybody, I'd like to close out the podcast today. Take a look at a story that caught my attention. Of course, we're always interested in headlines related to AI, and we fantasize about how someday, Bri, you might be able to apply some of this stuff even to things like the scrubber.
I would love, yeah.
Yep. This from the Daily Mail dated November 16th. Headline, Facebook will be, quote, better than humans at vision, hearing, language, and general cognition in a decade, Zuckerberg claims. Now, apparently they were involved in an expo somewhere, and they were talking to Fast Company and doing a little bit for this article, and they went on to talk about a new digital personal assistant that they've codenamed M, which is speculated, named after Ms. Moneypenny, a robotic personal assistant that apparently was featured in one of the recent James Bond movies. Anyway, story starts out, quote, Facebook is set to become a lot more intelligent and could outperform humans within 10 years, Mark Zuckerberg has claimed. In an interview with Fast Company, the Facebook founder revealed the firm's huge investment in artificial intelligence. Quote, one of our goals for the next 5 to 10 years is to basically get better than human level at all primary human senses, vision, hearing, language, general cognition. What an absolute whiz kid, Bri.
Wow.
Who would ever have thought of that?
Yeah, maybe they should put their first attention into actually getting Facebook working itself right before they try the brain.
Story goes on, the firm hopes to be able to take advantage of the vast amount of data people are producing every day. Quote, there's just going to be a lot more data generated about what's happening in the world, and the conventional models and systems that we have today won't scale, says Jay Perrick, Facebook's VP of Engineering. Yeah, them and the NSA, but they're not working too closely together, so don't worry, Bri.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I believe everything someone tells me.
Earlier this year, Facebook began testing a personal assistant for use that can make purchases, reservations, even handle your diary. Quote, unlike other AI-based services in the market, M can actually complete tasks on your behalf. And allegedly, Bri, those include purchasing stuff like gifts delivered to your loved ones, book restaurant reservations, make travel arrangements, doctor appointments, and lots of other stuff.
Right, and of course the problem is then who do they send all that information to?
Well,
that's the problem.
That is a huge problem. The privacy aspect is another. But see, I don't know if I actually want a computer doing all this sort of stuff for me anyway, because given that I don't use these types of devices for my everyday life, I don't see how it's going to get things done as I do them. If it's like every other computer system in my life, I'd wind up compromising a lot to get along with the system, rather than it compromising with me. It ain't me, man.
Well, you need to go and see that movie called Her, about the guy who falls in love with his computer.
It's a great movie. I have no doubt that's coming, man, but
right.
I also don't want to fall in love with one of them either. Call me old-fashioned. Well, I'll tell you, I understand that the Internet of Things is coming, and your washing machine is going to spy on you, as is your refrigerator and every other device. But, they're relying on all of this data to be put into one of these giant databases that makes all these decisions, and it just rubs me the wrong way. I'd like to tie it back to the scrubber, though, Bri. Where's the link in?
Yes. It's not the fridge, though that's going to know everything and order all our stuff for us. Just the smartness. Maybe we're going to beat old Mark to get something that's really smart.
Oh, God. Why did I go down this road? Well, why is it that although I respect the awesomeness of all this technology and the inevitability of this type of advancement, I've got this sick feeling in my gut that in short term this is going to be used to try to sell me more and better types of shaving products? And then down the road, it's going to be used to control everything I do and snuff me out when I don't comply. Why is that, Bri?
Because everyone's just trying to help you. They're all they're just trying to help.
So they're from the government and they're just trying to help.
Yeah, they don't mean any harm. They just want to help you, okay? And help themselves in the process.
Well, I don't buy it. So we got that, a rogue government completely out of control, an incoming army of maniacal fanatics and welfare leeches. On top of it all, there's the ever-present danger of hydrogen embrittlement, guy. So what's a God-fearing fastener like me to do?
Well, it could be worse, mate.
Yeah, how's that?
Oh, it could be raining.
Thank you. And that brings us back to laughter is the best medicine.
Good.
I'll take it. We're going to put episode 99 in the can, folks. And we thank you so much for joining us once again.
Yes, we do.
For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there, sell some screws, laugh a little bit, and we'll talk to you next time.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.